High in the southern sky, there is a single point of light that most of us have never learned to find, and it is the nearest star to our Sunday. It looks like one calm star, yet it is quietly three, and the closest of them is so dim and so strange that no human eye has ever seen it unaided. That neighbor lies about 4¼ light years away. So far, that light itself needs more than 4 years to reach us from it, and our fastest craft would need far longer still, a crossing beyond any journey we could plan. Tonight we drift over to simply look at the small cool star called Proxima Centauri, at the quiet world that circles it, and at the bright pair of suns the three of them belong to. Here there is only looking, and nothing that must be done. Should someone you care for find sleep hard to reach, you might set this quiet journey by their side to help them rest. For now, let your body grow heavy where it lies, and let the room drift farther away with every breath you let go. There is no need to reach the end, or to keep hold of any of it by morning. So let us begin gently with a look up at that one small point of light and the three quiet suns hidden inside it. If you have ever stood beneath a truly dark sky, far from the south of the world, below the equator, you may have noticed a bright point low over the horizon that the old star maps call Alpha Centauri. To the naked eye, it is a single brilliant star, the third brightest in all the night, steady and calm and unremarkable in the way the brightest stars always seem. For most of human history, that is all anyone knew it to be, one light among the many. It was only when we turned careful instruments upon it that the single light gently came apart in our hands. What looks like one star is in truth a small family of stars, bound together by their own gravity and drifting through the galaxy as one. Two of them are bright and sun-like, close companions that circle one another in a patient loop. The third is far smaller and far dimmer, a cool red ember set so far out from the other two that for a long while we were not even sure it belonged to them at all. Together they make the closest star system to our own, and yet to the eye they fall down into that single southern point, giving nothing of their number away. The two bright ones carry the names Alpha Centauri A and Alpha Centauri B, and the small dim one is called Proxima Centauri, from an old word meaning nearest. It earned that name honestly because of the three, and indeed of every star in the whole sky. Proxima is the one that sits closest to us. The dim little one lies a touch nearer than its two bright siblings, about 4¼ light years away, while the bright pair floats just slightly farther, near 4�4th light years off. That difference is small against such distances, but it is real, and it means the dimmest of the three is also our truest neighbor. There is a quiet lesson in that. The brightest thing is not always the nearest, and the nearest is not always the one we can see. For the closest star to our Sunday is a star that no person has ever glimpsed without the help of a telescope, a star too faint to prick the darkness on its own. To find our nearest neighbor, we had to look past the brilliant pair that draws the eye, out into the dim edges where the small, cool ember waits. So let us drift closer now and meet that ember first, the nearest star of all. Proxima Centauri is a red dwarf, and to understand it you have to let go of almost everything the word star brings to mind. own Sunday is a warm and middling star, neither large nor small, and it can feel like the natural size for a sun to be. Proxima is far smaller and far cooler and far dimmer than that. It holds only about an eighth of the Sunday's mass, a body scarcely larger across than the planet Jupiter, and its surface simmers at a temperature near 3,000 degrees, roughly half the heat of the Sunday's bright face. A cooler surface glows in longer, redder light, and so this little star burns not gold or white, but a deep and quiet red. Dimmer is a gentle word for how little light this star pours out. If you could set Proxima where our Sunday is, it would give the daytime Earth only a fraction of the brightness we are used to, for it shines with less than 2/1000ths of the Sunday's power. Stand it beside our Sunday, and it would look like a single candle held next to a lighthouse lamp. That is why, though it is the very nearest star to us, it hangs in our sky far below the faintest thing an unaided eye can catch. You could look straight at the patch of sky that holds our closest neighbor on the clearest night of your life and never once know it was there. And yet, for all that it is faint, this small star has one advantage that the great bright suns can never match. Because it burns so slowly and so gently, it spends its fuel at a miserly pace, and a red dwarf like Proxima can go on shining steadily not for billions of years, as our Sunday will, but for trillions. The universe itself is not yet 14 billion years old, so no red dwarf that has ever formed has even begun to grow old. Proxima is a patient, long-lived thing, a small ember set to glow far into a future so distant that our own Sunday will have finished its whole life many times over before this quiet neighbor so much as dims. So the nearest star to the Sunday turns out to be one of the smallest and dimmest and most enduring kinds of star there is. It asks for very little, and it gives out very little, and it will outlast almost everything around it. Hold that gentle picture as we drift closer still, because the more we learn of this modest ember, the more remarkable its quiet neighborhood becomes. Before we meet the world that circles it, though, let us pause on the plain fact of how far away it truly is, and how that distance feels when you let it settle slowly in the mind. 4¼ light years is the sort of number that slides past the ear without leaving a mark. So let us slow it down and let it grow real. A light year is not a measure of time at all, though it wears the word year inside it. It is a measure of distance. The distance a beam of light travels in one whole year, moving as it does at the fastest pace anything can move. In a single second, that beam could circle our entire planet more than 7 times over. Let it run at that pace without pause, day after day, and in a year it will have crossed a stretch so wide that the number of miles runs out past the edge of easy imagining. Now lay 4¼ of those years end to end, and you have the gap between us and Proxima. Written out in plain miles, it comes to something near 25 trillion, a number with so many zeros that the zeros stop meaning anything. It is easier to feel it a different way. Sunlight, which reaches our own faces about 8 minutes after it leaves the Sunday, would need more than 4 years to reach us if it set out from Proxima instead. The little red light we would see, if we could see it, left its star before you finished the season you are living in now, and has been traveling quietly toward you across the dark ever since. Here is a gentler way to hold it. Imagine you could shrink the whole Sunday down to the size of a single grain of sand and set it on a table in front of you. On that same shrunken scale, our Earth would be a speck too small to see, drifting a few inches from the grain. And Proxima, the very nearest star, would be another grain of sand, set down not across the table, not across the room, but in another town some miles away. Between the two grains there would be nothing at all but smooth, quiet emptiness. That is the true texture of the space between the stars, not crowded, but calm and open and almost perfectly bare. We have built machines to sail into that emptiness, and even they teach us how wide it is. Our farthest traveling spacecraft, launched when many of us were young, have been coasting outward for decades and have only just slipped past the edge of the Sunday's own influence. Moving at their steady pace, one of them would need something on the order of 70,000 years to cover the distance to Proxima, and it is not even headed that way. 70,000 years is longer than all of recorded history, many times over, longer than the time since the first cave walls were painted. That is the reach of our nearest neighbor, near in the language of stars, and yet a whole ocean of quiet in the language of any journey we could make. And still, of all the stars there are, this is the closest one. Every other sun in the sky is farther, most of them very much farther, so that Proxima marks the near shore of an ocean, whose far shores run on for 100,000 light years and more. To stand at the edge of that ocean and know its nearest island is already so far away is not a fearful thing. It is a widening thing, a quiet enlarging of the mind. Rest in that width a moment, and before we arrive at the near island itself, let us drift slowly through the emptiness that lies between and wonder what truly fills the great dark gap from one star to the next. It is tempting to think of the space between the stars as pure nothing, a perfect void with not a single thing in it. The truth is gentler and lovelier than that. Between one star and another, the space is very nearly empty, emptier by far than anything we could make on Earth, and yet it is not quite bare. Drifting through it, there is the thinnest imaginable haze of gas, mostly the lightest of all matter, scattered so sparsely that you might travel a long way to gather even a handful of atoms. Fine grains of dust float there too, and a soft glow of ancient light, and the faint reach of starlight from every direction at once. To feel how thin it is, picture this. The air around you now holds so many tiny particles in even the smallest space that they are beyond all counting, crowded shoulder to shoulder, wherever you breathe. Out in the space between the stars, that same small space might hold only a single atom, or none at all, with vast quiet gaps between one lonely particle and the next. It is a thinness we have no true experience of, a near-perfect emptiness stretched across light years, and the little haze that fills it is so faint that starlight passes through it, almost untouched across the whole long crossing. Even the finest vacuum we can make in our best laboratories, pumped and sealed with great care, is crowded and busy compared to the open space between the stars. There, matter is spread so thin that a great deal of it would fit, all told, into a very small room, if only you could gather it from across the enormous dark. The wonder is not that the space between the stars holds so little. What is remarkable is that it holds anything at all that even here in the emptiest reaches. The universe keeps a faint, gentle presence, a thin breath of gas and dust drifting patiently through the endless quiet. And it is cold out there, cold almost past meaning. For far from any star, there is little to warm the thin gas, and it settles toward the deep chill that fills the wider universe. It is dark, too, lit only by the scattered pinpricks of distant suns and that soft ancient glow left over from the universe's first ages. To drift through it would be to move through a great, silent, freezing calm, a stillness so complete that our loudest and busiest world would seem a distant dream. There is no wind to speak of, no sound at all, only the slow, patient hush of the thinnest gas adrift in the endless dark. Our own Sunday carves a great gentle bubble in that thin gas, blowing a steady breath of particles outward in every direction that holds the interstellar haze at bay far past the outermost planets. That bubble is the Sunday's own quiet realm, and its edge lies enormously far out, well beyond the farthest worlds. The small craft we launched decades ago have only lately drifted across that edge, slipping out of the Sunday sheltered bubble and into the true space between the stars. The first things of ours ever to taste that thin, cold interstellar haze directly. Even they, our farthest travelers, have only just reached the near beginning of the Great Gap. So the ocean between us and the nearest star is not a fierce or a crowded place. It is a vast, thin, freezing, quiet calm, nearly empty and almost perfectly still, sparse beyond imagining and gentle in its way. To cross it, even in the mind, is to pass through the largest stillness. There is an openness so complete that it soothes rather than troubles. Let us drift the rest of the way across that quiet now, in no hurry at all, and arrive at last at the small red ember waiting on the far shore, to see how lively even so calm and quiet a little star can be. For all its smallness and its gentle red glow, Proxima is not a still or sleepy star. It belongs to a kind that astronomers call flare stars, and now and then, without warning, it brightens. Deep in the churning body of the star, tangled lines of magnetic force build up and then let go all at once. And when they do, a sudden bloom of light and energy leaps off the surface. For a few minutes, the little star can grow many times brighter than its usual quiet self, a swift blossoming of radiance, and then it eases back down to its calm red simmer, as though nothing had happened at all. In the spring of the year 2019, astronomers watching Proxima recorded one of these events far larger than the rest. A great flare in which the star flung out an enormous pulse of light across many wavelengths in the span of only seconds. For that brief moment, the dim little dwarf became, in certain kinds of light, a genuinely brilliant thing. To our eyes on Earth, it would have shone as the faintest reddening flicker, but to any world circling nearby, it was a sudden flood of brightness washing over the sky. It is one of the most powerful such flares ever seen from a small star, and it revealed just how lively these quiet embers can be. Why a small, cool star should be so given to these bright outbursts is one of the tender puzzles of the subject. It may be that young red dwarfs spin quickly and tangle their magnetic fields more tightly, storing energy that must eventually release. Whatever the cause, the pattern is clear enough. A star like Proxima will pass long stretches in perfect calm, and then every so often light up in one of these brief silent blossomings, scattering fresh energy out into the space around it. For the star itself, the flares are simply part of its nature, a slow rhythm of gathering and releasing that it has kept, most likely for billions of years. There is something almost musical in it, a star that breathes out light, and it matters for our story, because Proxima does not hold its little glow to itself. Close in around it, nearer than any planet in our own system, rides to the Sunday. There travels a world, and that world stands full in the light of every calm glow and every sudden bloom this star lets off. Whether such a place could ever be gentle enough to hold still water on its surface is a question we will come to softly. But first, we must meet the world itself, the nearest planet beyond our own Sunday's family, and see how it was quietly found. For a long time, we could only guess whether the nearest star carried any worlds at all. Stars are so far off and so bright, and planets so small and so dark, that a planet beside its star is nearly always lost in the glare, like a moth beside a street lamp seen from across a valley. So the search for a world at Proxima was not a search for a picture of one. It was a search for a whisper, a search for the faint and patient sign that something unseen was tugging on the star. And in the year 2016, after years of careful watching, that whisper was finally heard. The method is a lovely one, quiet and indirect. A planet does not simply circle its star while the star stays fixed. The two of them pull on one another, and so the star itself traces a small answering loop, swaying by a tiny amount as its unseen companion goes around. That sway shows up as a faint rhythmic shift in the star's light, a slow tugging to and fro, repeating with the beat of the planet's year. Astronomers at southern observatories gathered that starlight night after night in a long campaign fittingly named for the pale red color of the star, and in its gentle rhythm they read the presence of a world. The world they found is called Proxima B, and in a few plain numbers, it is a quietly familiar place. It weighs in at close to the mass of our own Earth, only a little heavier, near 1 1/10 Earth masses at the least. That alone is a quiet marvel, that the nearest planet beyond our Sunday should be, in its bulk, so much like the ground beneath our feet, rather than some vast ball of gas. It is very likely a rocky world, a world with a solid surface somewhere beneath whatever sky it holds, the kind of place a thing could in principle stand upon. Of all the thousands of worlds we have found around other suns, this near cousin in size waits at the very closest one. But familiar in size is not the same as familiar in every way, and Proxima B keeps its own peculiar timing. It rides extremely close to its little star, far closer than any planet circles our Sunday, closer even than tight little Mercury hugs its own fierce daytime. At that nearness, it races around its whole orbit in only about 11 days. A year on Proxima B, one full circuit of its sun, is shorter than a fortnight here. If you had been born on that world, you would count a birthday roughly every 11 of our days, and you would gather thousands of its swift little years in a single human lifetime. That closeness sounds as though it should mean a scorched world, and around our own bright Sunday it certainly would. But Proxima is such a faint and gentle star that a planet must nestle in tight to feel any warmth at all. So near in, the little world sits within what astronomers call the habitable zone, the narrow band around a star where a surface could, in principle, be neither too hot nor too cold for liquid water to gather and stay. that a world so close to its sun could still be so mild, is one of the quiet gifts of a dim red star. It draws its planets near and warms them softly, and lets a place like Proxima B sit in a kind of perpetual temperate light. Sitting so close to its star gives Proxima B another quiet peculiarity, one that reshapes the whole feel of the place. Worlds that ride in tight around their suns are gently gripped by the star's pull over long ages, until they turn to face it always with the same side, the way our own moon keeps one familiar face forever toward the Earth. Proxima B is very likely held in just this way, tidally locked, so that one hemisphere gazes eternally at its little red sun, while the other looks eternally away into the dark. The world still travels its swift orbit, but it no longer spins freely against its star. Picture what that would mean for anyone standing there. On the sunward face, there is no sunrise and no sunset, no morning and no evening. None of the daily turning we take so wholly for granted. The little red sun simply hangs where it hangs, in one fixed spot in the sky, and stays there, hour upon hour, age upon age. Your own shadow would fall in one direction and remain there always. There would be no passage of a day at all in the way we know it. Only a single endless afternoon of soft red light, held perfectly still over a silent land. And on the far side there would be the opposite, a night with no dawn to end it. That hemisphere never turns to face the star, and so it lies under a permanent darkness, lit only by the faint far light of the two bright companion suns and the scattered stars. Between the two faces, the endless day and the endless night, there would run a border unlike any place on Earth, a slender ring of everlasting twilight circling the whole world, where the sun forever sits low upon the horizon, neither rising nor setting. In that thin band, the light would be gentle and level and unchanging, a soft rose dusk stretched all the way around the planet. There is something restful in imagining that ring of endless twilight. Here, our whole lives are ruled by the turning of day into night, and back again, the great wheel of light we are born, already spinning inside. On Proxima B, that wheel is still. If any place on that world were mild enough to hold gentle weather, some quiet scientists have wondered, it might well be along that twilight ring, where the fierce light of the day face and the deep cold of the night face meet and soften into one another. Whether such a mildness truly exists there, though, is a question with no settled answer. And to reach it honestly, we must speak plainly about how demanding a home this little world would be. It is tempting, when you hear that the nearest planet sits in its star's habitable zone and weighs about as much as the Earth, to leap to a warm and hopeful conclusion and call it a second Earth, waiting next door. That leap is one we should set gently aside. Proxima B sits within the band where liquid water is possible, and that is a real and wonderful thing. But possible is a careful word, and it is not the same as certain, nor anything close to it. Whether the surface of that world is truly a place where water could gather and stay is genuinely unknown, and honest wonder means holding the question open. The chief reason for that caution is the star itself. We have seen already that Proxima is a flare star, prone to sudden bright outbursts, and its planet rides in very close, full in the light of every calm glow and every flare alike. Over the long ages, a world, so near such an active star, may be washed again and again in bursts of energy far stronger than anything the sheltered Earth ever feels. And steady streams of particles blowing off the star press constantly against whatever atmosphere the world may hold. An atmosphere is a fragile robe, and one worn so close to a restless star might, over time, be thinned or stripped or reshaped in ways we do not yet understand. So the true picture of Proxima B is not one world, but two possible worlds, held side by side in our uncertainty. In one of them, the planet has somehow kept a thick and sheltering atmosphere, and beneath it, perhaps along that mild twilight ring, water lies pooled and quiet under a soft red sky. Or else the world stands bare and dry, its air long since worn away, a rocky face lit by an unchanging sun with no still water anywhere upon it. We do not yet know which of these is the real one, or whether the truth is some third thing between them. The instruments that might tell us are only now being built and aimed, and Proxima B, it turns out, may not travel alone. The same patient watching that revealed, it has since hinted at least one smaller companion, a lighter world named Proxima D that hugs the star even more closely and circles it in only about 5 days. A tiny thing, perhaps a quarter the mass of Earth. There are gentle hints, too, of a third and more distant member, a candidate world still awaiting firm confirmation. So the nearest star may hold a small quiet system of its own, a little family of worlds turning around their dim red sun. Whether any of them is soft enough for water to rest upon remains, for now, one of the loveliest open questions in all the sky. Let us leave that question softly open, as the finest ones deserve, and linger a little longer beside this small world, with the swift and gentle rhythm of its year. We have said that Proxima B races around its little sun in only about 11 days, and it is worth resting on that swift small year a while, for it reshapes the very meaning of time upon that world. A year, to us, is the long, slow circuit of our own Earth around the Sunday, a great wheel of some 365 days, carrying us through spring and summer and autumn and winter and home again. It is the largest natural rhythm most of us feel, the frame our whole calendar hangs upon. On Proxima B, that same circuit, one full loop around its star, is over and done in less time than a fortnight here. Imagine keeping a calendar there. A birthday would come around roughly every 11 days, and a single one of our years would gather more than 30 of theirs. Someone of 80 of our years would have counted. On that world, some 2,500 of its swift little years, thousands of complete journeys around the sun in a single human span. The great slow frame that shapes so much of our own sense of time, the turning year, would there be a small and quick and constant thing, spinning by again and again, almost too fast to lean a life upon. And yet, for all that its year is so swift, its days do not turn at all. And this is one of the gentle contradictions of the place. Because the world is very likely locked to face its star, there is no daily sunrise, no rolling of light into dark and back, none of the turning we usually mean by a day. So on Proxima B, the small, quick year rushes by while the sky itself holds perfectly still, the sun fixed where it hangs, the light unchanging, the shadows never moving. Time passes swiftly in the orbit and not at all in the sky. a curious weaving of the fast and the motionless that has no likeness anywhere in our own experience. Nor would that swift year bring any seasons of the kind we know. Our seasons come from the gentle tilt of the earth, which leans us first a little toward the Sunday and then a little away as we travel our long orbit, giving us our warm months and our cold ones. A world held locked to its star, gazing at it always with one steady face, would feel little of that swing. Its lit hemisphere would stay warm and its dark one cool, evenly, and always the same soft conditions holding across every one of its quick 11-day years. There would be no summer to wait for and no winter to endure, only the long, unchanging balance of a world that neither tilts nor turns. Yet there is a deep stillness hidden inside that swift small year. Then, a stillness we might not expect from a world that laps its sun so quickly. It hurries around, and yet nothing about its sky or its seasons ever changes. The world is forever in the same soft moment, the same fixed light, the same even warmth, no matter how many of its brief years go rushing by. To imagine living within such a rhythm is to imagine a life freed from the turning of days and the march of seasons entirely, held instead in one long unchanging light. And that gentle constancy leads us naturally to the deeper question we have been circling all along. The question of whether that steady light could ever be mild enough to call a home. Astronomers have a gentle name for the band around a star, where a world might hold liquid water on its surface. They call it the habitable zone, though a softer name for it is the temperate zone, the ring of just right warmth, too close to a star, and any water would be driven off as vapor. Set it too far out, and that water would lie forever locked as ice. But somewhere between those two, at just the right distance, a world could in principle keep its water liquid and flowing, neither boiled away nor frozen solid. That in-between ring is what we mean by the habitable zone, and it is one of the first things we look for around any star. Where that ring falls depends entirely on how brightly the star shines. Around a bright, warm sun like our own, the temperate band lies comfortably far out, and our Earth rides pleasantly within it. But around a dim, cool star like Proxima, which gives off so little warmth, the ring must lie very close in, snug against the little star, for that is the only place near enough to feel any gentle heat at all. And this is exactly where Proxima B is found, tucked in tight against its dim red sun, close enough that, faint as the star is, the world may still bask in a mild and temperate glow. In that sense, the little world sits precisely where we would most hope to find it. But here we must be tender and honest, for sitting within the habitable zone is only a beginning, not a promise. The temperate band tells us only that a world is at the right distance for water to be possible, if everything else about it is kind. It says nothing of whether the world actually holds any water or any air to press upon that water and keep it from escaping, or whether its star is calm enough to let a gentle surface endure. A world can sit squarely in the habitable zone and still be bare and dry if it never gathered water or lost its air or lies too exposed to its star's restless moods. The zone is a doorway, not a dwelling. So when we say that Proxima B lies in its star's habitable zone, we are saying something real and hopeful, but modest. We are saying that the nearest world beyond our own is at least standing in the right doorway, at the right distance from its sun for the oldest gentle possibility to be open. Whether it has stepped through that doorway into true mildness, whether water truly rests upon it beneath a sheltering sky, we simply do not know, and we must not pretend otherwise. It is one of the loveliest maybes in all the sky, and a maybe it remains, waiting patiently for better eyes than we yet have to look and see. There is a quiet grace in leaving it there, in the doorway, neither shutting the possibility away, nor rushing to claim more than we know. The nearest world sits in the temperate ring of the nearest star, close enough to wonder at, and holds its true nature softly out of reach, and that is simply where our knowledge rests tonight. Hold that gentle uncertainty as lightly as we have held every open question this whole night through, without needing it answered. And now let us leave the little world and its dim red sun a while, and drift the short way over to the two bright suns that this whole small family belongs to. Here they are, then, the two bright suns that anchor the whole system, the brilliant pair that the little red ember and its worlds ultimately belong to. The larger and brighter of the pair is Alpha Centauri A, and of all the stars beyond our Sunday, it is very nearly the most like our Sunday that we know. It is a yellow star of much the same kind, only a touch larger and a touch more luminous, holding a little more mass than the Sunday and pouring out about half again as much light. If you could set it in our own sky in place of the Sunday, you would scarcely notice the change. The days would be much as they are now. There is a deep comfort in that likeness. Among the countless kinds of star the galaxy holds, most are quite unlike our own, whether the small dim red dwarfs like Proxima or the rare blazing giants that burn fast and bright. To find, at the very nearest system to us, a star so nearly a twin of our own Sunday feels almost like a kindness of the universe, a familiar face waiting just across the dark. Alpha Centauri A is the sort of steady, sun-like star that, in our long imaginings of other worlds and other skies, we most often picture as a home sun, calm and golden and dependable. For all its likeness to the Sunday, Alpha Centauri does not stand alone in its sky, and that changes everything about the view from anywhere near it. It is one half of a close pair, forever partnered with a second star that circles near enough to share its whole neighborhood. Any world in orbit around the one would have the other always somewhere in its sky. Now a brilliant second star by night, now a small fierce second sun by day, drawing slowly nearer and then easing away again across the long years of the pair's shared dance. To understand this brighter neighbor fully, then we must meet its lifelong companion, the smaller orange star that turns beside it. The second of the bright pair is Alpha Centauri B, and it is a gentler thing than its partner, smaller and cooler and dimmer, though far brighter and warmer than little Proxima. It is what astronomers call an orange dwarf, a star that holds a bit less mass than our Sunday and glows with a softer, more amber light, giving off perhaps half the Sunday's brightness. Stars of this kind are quiet, patient, long-lived suns, thought by some to be among the steadiest and most welcoming stars in the whole galaxy for the slow gathering of anything delicate. Beside its brilliant yellow sibling, it is the softer voice of the pair, a mild companion light. Together these two, the sun-like A and the orange B, are bound in a long and graceful waltz around their shared center of gravity. They are true companions, held by each other's pull, and they trace a slow ellipse around one another that takes about 80 years to complete, roughly the span of a single long human life. Over the course of that circuit, the gap between them breathes in and out. At their widest, they drift some distance apart, farther than the outer planets of our own system range from the Sunday, and at their closest, they draw in much nearer to something like the distance between our Sunday and its middle planets. Neither ever lets the other go. Imagine standing on a world that circled just one of these two suns. You would have your own steady daytime star, much like ours, and then, off across the dark, a second brilliant point of light that was itself a whole sun, sometimes gleaming through the night as the loveliest of evening stars, sometimes riding the daytime sky as a small dazzling companion to your own sun. Over the years you would watch that second light slowly close the distance and then slowly withdraw again, keeping the long 80-year rhythm of the pair. Two suns, forever circling, would be simply the ordinary shape of the sky, the plain furniture of the heavens over that world. And these two bright dancers, the yellow sun and its orange companion, are the true heart of the system, the pair that Proxima and its little worlds ultimately belong to. For the small red ember we began with does not merely float near this bright couple by chance. It is bound to them, part of the same family held by the same faint gravity across a gulf, so wide that it staggers even after all the distances we have already tried to hold. To feel how the three of them truly fit together, we must draw back now, farther than we have yet drawn back, and take in the whole slow shape of this nearest of all star systems. Here, in the deep middle of our journey, we come to the quietest and vastest fact of all, and it is worth letting it unfold as slowly as it deserves. The two bright suns and the little red dwarf are bound together. One system, one family held by gravity. But the little dwarf does not ride close beside its bright kin. It circles them from an astonishing distance, so far out that the bright pair, seen from Proxima, would shrink to a single dazzling point, no longer two suns but one brilliant star among the others, the brightest in that world's whole sky and nothing more. To carry the scale, remember our grain of sand. If the two bright suns were a small cluster of grains set together on a table, then Proxima would be another grain resting, not beside them but out across a wide field, a great open distance away. The little dwarf orbits its bright companions from something on the order of 13,000 times the distance between our Earth and Sunday, out in the deep cold suburbs of the system, where the light of the twin suns has thinned to a single sharp gleam. It is the most distant of loyal companions, keeping to its family while holding so far off that its belonging was doubted for years. To picture that vast separation another way, the little dwarf sits some thousands of times farther from its bright suns than our own Earth, sits from our Sunday, out where those brilliant companions have dwindled to a single gleaming star. If our whole Sunday and its planets were gathered into a small bright coin, the little ember would be circling it from clear across a wide and quiet field, held by a pull so gentle it can barely be felt. And still it holds faithful across that enormous gap, bound to its bright kin by the faintest thread of gravity, never quite letting go and never drawing near. Now, the gentlest part of all. At such an enormous distance, gravity's grip is very faint, and a body held so loosely moves very slowly indeed. One full circuit of the little dwarf around its bright suns, one single orbit, 1 year in the largest sense of that word takes something on the order of 500,000 years. Let that settle softly. In the time it takes Proxima to travel just once around its companions, the whole of human history passes many times over. Every era we have ever named, every age of ice and every age of warmth, all of it would fit within a small arc of that one enormous patient loop. There is a deep calm in a motion that's slow. When the first of our kind looked up and wondered at the lights in the sky, Proxima had scarcely shifted along its orbit. And when the last of us looks up in some far age yet to come, it will have moved only a little farther. The little ember is drifting around its bright family so gradually that against a single human life it seems not to move at all, and yet move it does, faithfully, patiently, on a circle whose slow completion no one who has ever lived will see even a sliver of finished. It simply keeps to its long, quiet path, and has done so, most likely, for the whole long age of the stars. So this is the true shape of the nearest star system, the thing hidden inside that one southern point of light. 2 bright suns waltzing close in an 80-year embrace, and one small red ember circling them both from far out in the dark on a loop 500,000 years long. 3 stars bound as one family, and around the smallest of them at least one Earth-sized world, and perhaps a few more, turning through their swift 11-day years beneath an unmoving red sun. All of it near, in the language of the cosmos, and all of it as quiet and slow and patient as anything could be. Rest here a while, in the middle of that stillness, before we ask gently how we ever came to know this faint ember was there at all. It is worth pausing to wonder how we ever came to know that this faint, unseeable ember is the nearest star of all. The 2 bright suns of Alpha Centauri had been known and admired for as long as people have watched the southern sky. But the little red companion gave no light for the naked eye to notice. It was found only a little over a century ago by an astronomer working from an observatory in the southern half of the world, who was patiently comparing photographs of that patch of sky and noticed one faint point that would not hold still. Among all the fixed and steady stars, this one small light was slowly creeping. That slow creep is the first clue that a star is close. Every star drifts through the galaxy on its own long path, but the near ones appear to slide across our sky more quickly than the far ones, in just the way a nearby streetlight seems to sweep past a moving window, while the distant hills barely shift at all. This faint light was sliding faster than almost anything else in that part of the sky, and that alone marked it as something very near. Careful watching showed it kept close company with the 2 bright suns, sharing their motion through space, and so it was understood to be their companion, the 3rd and dimmest member of the family. To learn just how near, astronomers used a method as old and as elegant as any in the science. The same trick your own 2 eyes play without your ever asking. Hold up a finger and look at it first with one eye and then the other, and it seems to jump against the background. Nearer things jump more. The Earth, as it circles the Sunday through the year, carries our telescopes from one side of a wide orbit to the other, and against that shifting vantage, the nearest stars appear to trace a tiny yearly wobble, while the distant ones hold still. By measuring the small angle of that wobble for the little red star, astronomers could work out its distance, and the answer came back nearer than any other star known. In our own age, we have measured that distance with a care the first watchers could only have dreamed of. A patient spacecraft built to chart the heavens has fixed the positions and distances of more than 1 billion stars, mapping the shape of our whole corner of the galaxy, and it has pinned the little red neighbor precisely in place. 4¼ light years, give or take the smallest sliver, closer than its 2 bright siblings by a whisker that is nonetheless real. So the humble ember, first noticed for its restless drift across old photographs, is now among the most exactly located stars in all the sky, and its title as our nearest neighbor is settled and secure. There is a certain tenderness in that history. The nearest thing to us in all the sea of stars is a light too faint to see, discovered not by its brilliance, but by its slow and patient motion, tracked down by watchers comparing one quiet night's photograph with another. It reminds us that the closest things are not always the loudest, and that some of the finest discoveries come not from a sudden blaze, but from noticing, over long attention, what has quietly shifted. Hold that gentle thought as we turn to ask what actually keeps a small star, like this one, burning, and why it will go on burning for so extraordinarily long. What makes a star shine at all is a slow fire kindled at its very center, where the crushing weight of all the star's own material squeezes the core so tightly and heats it so fiercely that the lightest atoms are pressed together and merged into slightly heavier ones. Each such merging releases a small breath of energy, and gathered over the countless mergings in a star's heart, that energy becomes the light and warmth that pours out across the dark. Our own Sunday does this, and so does little Proxima, and so does every star you have ever seen. A star is, at heart, a slow and steady release of light from the joining of the simplest matter there is. But a small star tends its fire very differently from a large one, and this is the secret of Proxima's long life. In our Sunday, the core burns hot and separate, and the outer layers do not mix down into it, so the Sunday can only ever use the fuel that sits in its central chamber. A small red dwarf like Proxima, by contrast, churns slowly all the way through, its whole body turning over gently like a pot of water warmed from below, carrying material from the surface down toward the core and back again. That slow, thorough mixing means the little star can draw on very nearly all of its fuel, feeding its fire patiently from its entire self, rather than from one central room alone. Add to that the simple fact that the dim star burns its fuel slowly to begin with, and you arrive at a lifespan almost beyond holding in the mind. Our Sunday, bright and spendthrift, will shine for something on the order of 10 billion years before its long changes come. A small red dwarf, thrifty and slow, and able to use nearly all it holds, may go on glowing steadily, not for billions of years, but for trillions, for spans so long that the whole present age of the universe is only the faintest opening moment of their story. Proxima has scarcely begun. It is, in the fullest sense, a young star, and it will still be young when everything familiar to us has long since changed. That endurance casts the little star in a gentle new light. It is easy to think of the small and dim as the lesser, and the great and bright as the truly important. And yet, in the long reckoning of time, it is the small dim stars that inherit the ages. Long after the brilliant suns have spent themselves and quieted, the patient red dwarfs will still be glowing softly across a darkening galaxy, the last steady hearths in a cooling universe. Our nearest neighbor is one of these enduring embers, set to outlast almost everything, keeping its faithful little worlds warmed through spans of time we can name but never truly feel. So the modest ember we began the night with turns out to be, in its quiet way, one of the most durable things the cosmos makes. It asks little, gives little, and abides. There is a deep restfulness in that image, a small warm light that simply keeps, without haste or effort, through ages upon ages. And it was towards such patience, in the year the world learned of Proxima B, that a long and gentle campaign of watching had at last been rewarded. Let us return to that watching now, and to the pale red glimmer that a careful search finally caught. The discovery of the world at Proxima did not come in a single bright moment. It came the way most of the finest things in this science come, out of patience, out of returning night after night to the same faint star and asking it, gently and repeatedly, the same quiet question. For years, astronomers had suspected that something might circle Proxima, catching hints in the star's light that came and went and could not quite be pinned down. So a dedicated campaign was mounted, a season of watching set aside for the single purpose of listening closely to the pale red star and reading whatever rhythm might be hidden in its glow. Night after night, when the little star climbed high enough over the southern horizon, its light was gathered and split into its colors and measured with exquisite care, sensitive enough to catch the tiniest tugging of the star toward us and away. The signal they were hunting was faint almost past belief, a swaying of the whole star by no more than a slow walking pace, betraying the pull of an unseen world. To find it, every other source of trembling in the light had to be understood and set aside. The star's own restless surface, its flares, even the slow turning of the star itself, until what remained was the clean, patient rhythm of a planet going round. And there it was, a beat repeating, once every 11 days or so, steady and unmistakable, the signature of a world about the mass of the Earth circling in the star's temperate band. When the campaign gathered its long watching together and laid the rhythm bare, the result was announced to the world in the summer of the year 2016, and it landed as one of the loveliest pieces of news the science had offered in a generation. The very nearest star to our Sunday, it turned out, was not barren. It carried at least one small rocky world, riding in the zone where water might in principle rest, right on our own doorstep. Think for a moment of what that meant. Of all the many thousands of worlds we have since found scattered around other suns, most lie at distances so vast that they are little more than names and numbers, worlds we will never see as more than a dip in a distant star's light. But this one is at the nearest star there is. If ever there were a world beyond our own that we might one day hope to study closely, to learn its air and its surface and its true nature, this near neighbor would surely be among the first we would turn to. Its discovery drew the whole idea of other worlds in from the unreachable distance and set it, quietly, just next door. That nearness is the quiet gift running through this whole night. The nearest star, the nearest planet beyond our Sunday, the nearest place where the old question of water and mildness can even be softly asked, all of it gathered at the closest point in the sky. And the finding of it rested not on any sudden blaze, but on the same patient watching that first caught the ember creeping across old photographs, the same gentle returning again and again to a faint light and a simple question. From that patience came a world. Let us carry the patience with us now and imagine standing upon that far world and lifting our eyes to its uncommon sky. Set aside for a moment the question of whether Proxima B holds any air at all, and imagine gently that it does. What would the weather of such a place be like? A world with one face held always to its little sun, and the other turned always to the dark. It is a puzzle scientists have played with in their models, and the pictures they draw are quietly beautiful. On the sunward face, the air would be forever warmed in one fixed spot, directly beneath the unmoving star, while on the night face, the air would forever cool under an open sky of stars. Between those two extremes, the atmosphere itself would try endlessly to even things out. Air that is warmed rises and spreads, and air that is cooled sinks and flows back. And so a world lit forever on one side would likely stir a great patient circulation, a steady breathing of wind carrying warmth from the bright face around toward the dark one. If the world held enough air, that endless flow could ferry heat all the way to the night side and keep even the sunless hemisphere from settling into too deep a cold. The whole atmosphere would become a single slow machine for sharing warmth, turning day into night and back through the movement of the wind, rather than through the turning of the world. Its weather would not come and go. It would simply be, holding its shape across the ages. The gentlest place on such a world would likely be that ring of endless twilight we imagined earlier. The slender band where the day face meets the night. There the sun would rest forever low on the horizon, its light soft and slanting, neither the full glare of the noon spot, nor the full dark of the far side. If liquid water could gather and stay anywhere on Proxima B, some have gently suggested it might be along that mild twilight ring, or in a warmed pool on the day face beneath the fixed sun, or spread thin beneath a sheltering sky. These are careful maybes, drawn in models, and not yet in any measurement, and they are offered here only as quiet possibilities to rest the imagination upon. For all these gentle pictures, we must hold to our honesty. We do not know that Proxima B has any atmosphere at all, and without one there would be no wind, no shared warmth, no pooled water, only bare rock under an unmoving light. The models are lovely, but they are exercises of careful thought, not reports from the surface. What they give us is not an answer, but a permission to imagine within the bounds of what the science allows, that the nearest world beyond our own might just possibly be a place of soft twilight and slow warm winds, rather than a bare and silent stone. Which it truly is, we cannot yet say, and that unknowing is itself a kind of quiet wonder. There is a restfulness in letting a question stay open like this, without forcing it shut. We so often want the world sorted into known and settled things, and here is one of the nearest places in all creation, still wrapped in a gentle mystery, still holding its true face, just out of our reach. In time, our instruments may lift that veil and tell us plainly what Proxima B is like. For tonight, it is enough to hold both possible worlds softly in mind, the mild one and the bare one, and to let them drift there side by side. Now, though, let us do the loveliest thing of all, and imagine we are standing upon that far world, looking up. Suppose you could stand, just in imagination, on the day face of Proxima B and lift your eyes to its sky, the first thing you would see is the little red sun itself, and it would not look small. Because the world rides in so close, its star would loom far larger in that sky than our own Sunday does in ours. A great soft disk of dim red light, wide and gentle, hanging motionless. Where it always hangs, it would not sting the eye the way our bright Sunday does. Instead, it would glow, deep and rose and calm, a fixed lantern in a fixed spot, casting long unchanging shadows across the ground, and never once climbing or setting. Now and then that great soft disk would brighten. When one of Proxima's flares let go, the whole sky of the day face would flush with a sudden wash of stronger light, the fixed sun blooming for a few minutes into something markedly brighter before easing back to its calm red glow. It would be, for anyone standing there, a slow and silent event, a brightening and a fading of the whole heavens, part of the ordinary rhythm of that world's sky. The light would soften and swell and soften again, the way clouds pass over our own Sunday. Only here it would be the star itself breathing, rather than any cloud. But the truest wonder would wait on the night face, or in the twilight ring, when you turned away from the little red sun and looked out into the dark. For there, hanging among the stars, you would see two other lights of astonishing brightness, brighter by far than anything in our own night sky, brighter even than the brightest planet we know. Those two lights would be Alpha Centauri A and B, the bright suns that Proxima circles from so far out. Seen from the little red world, the twin suns are no longer a home star at all, but a pair of dazzling evening stars. So brilliant, they would cast their own faint shadows on the ground, two beacons burning in the dark. Imagine growing up beneath such a sky. Your own sun, dim and red and unmoving, holding one half of your world in endless soft day, and out over the night half, two brilliant stars. So bright they lit the darkness, slowly circling one another across the years in their long, slow waltz. Over a lifetime, you would watch those two beacons draw together and ease apart again, keeping the 80-year rhythm of the pair, the grandest and most patient clock in your whole sky. To the people of such a world, if ever there were any, two blazing suns in the night would be simply the way the heavens are, no more remarkable than our own familiar moon. And this is a real sky, remember, not an invented one. Every part of it follows from things we have actually measured, the dim red sun that does not move, the flares that bloom and fade, the two brilliant companion suns burning in the dark. It is the true view from the nearest world beyond our own, drawn faithfully from what we know. To hold it in the mind is to stand, just for a breath, somewhere entirely other than here, under a sky that obeys the same laws as ours, yet wears a wholly different face. Rest there a moment, beneath the fixed red sun and the two bright beacons. Then let us turn, gently, and look for home. If you stood on Proxima B and searched its night sky for our own Sunday, you could, in principle, find it. Our Sunday would be there, shining across the same 4¼ light years that separate us, giving its light to that far world, just as Proxima's light comes to ours. But you would have to know exactly where to look, for from over there, our brilliant Sunday, the great fire that rules our every day, would be reduced to a single modest point of light, one small star among the thousands, entirely ordinary to any eye that did not know its meaning. The center of our whole world would be, in their sky, a faint and unremarkable star, Astronomers have even worked out where in that far sky our Sunday would sit. Seen from the neighborhood of Proxima, our Sunday would fall within a well-known pattern of stars, a bright zigzag shape that we in the north call by an old name, and it would add one more point to that figure, gently altering its outlines. So the beings of any world over there, had they star maps of their own, would trace a familiar shape across their heavens and never guess that one of its lights was the sun of a small blue world, where, across the same dark, others were tracing patterns of their own and wondering the very same wonder in reverse. And the earth itself, our whole world, everyone who has ever lived and everything we have ever done would not be visible from Proxima B at all. Our planet gives off no light of its own. It only catches a little of the Sundays and reflects it back, and from 4¼ light years away, that faint reflected glimmer would be utterly lost in the glare of the Sunday beside it, far too faint for any ordinary looking to catch. From the nearest star, our home is not even a point of light. It is a possibility hidden in the shine of an unremarkable star, exactly as, from here, the worlds of Proxima are hidden in the glow of a light too faint to see. There is a lovely symmetry in that, a gentle mirror held up across the dark. From here, the nearest star is a faint red ember we cannot see with the eye, hiding at least one small world we can barely detect. And from there, our Sunday is a faint point among many, hiding a small blue world no looking could reveal. Two quiet neighbors, each unable to see the other plainly, each holding worlds, the other can only infer, separated by a gulf that light itself takes years to cross. And yet neighbors all the same, the closest of neighbors in all the vast sea of stars, tied together by the simple fact of nearness. To look back at our own Sunday from the nearest star, even only in the mind, is to feel the whole picture gently turn inside out. All the weight and warmth and importance our Sunday holds for us shrinks from over there to one modest light among the crowd, and our entire world becomes a thing you would have to already believe in to look for. It is not a shrinking that troubles. Rather, it is a widening, the same widening we have felt all night, the quiet enlargement that comes from seeing the familiar from very far away. Hold that turned around view softly a while, and then let us think about the great gulf itself, and the slow crossing of it that only light can make. We have spoken of the gulf between us and the nearest star in numbers and in grains of sand, but there is one more way to feel it, and it is perhaps the gentlest of all. Think of what it would take simply to send a greeting across that gap. A beam of light, the swiftest messenger there is, released from the Earth tonight and aimed at Proxima, would not arrive tomorrow, nor next month, nor next year. It would travel on through the dark for more than 4 years before its first glimmer reached that far red star. And a reply, sent back the instant it arrived, would take just as long again to return to us. So the very quickest conversation we could ever hold with the nearest star would run to more than 8 years for a single question, and its answer, more than 8 years for one round of hello and hello in return. There is no hurrying it. Nothing we know can outrun light, and light itself needs those long years to make the crossing. The nearest neighbor in all the sky is still so far that a simple exchange of greetings would span the better part of a childhood. To speak with the nearest star is to speak very slowly indeed, across a silence measured in years, and to go there in person, rather than merely to send light, would be slower still by far. We have launched a few small craft, that are now drifting out beyond the edge of our own Sunday's realm. The farthest things our hands have ever set moving, and they are marvels. Yet even they crawl against a distance like this. Traveling at the pace of our swiftest probe, a journey to Proxima would take on the order of 70,000 years, a span longer than all of settled human history, laid end to end, longer than the time since we first left our handprints on cave walls. No ship we have yet built is bound for that shore, and none could reach it in any lifetime we could plan. And yet, none of this is a cause for any heaviness. That the nearest star lies so far beyond our reach is simply the shape of the cosmos we were born into, the true scale of the quiet house we live in. There is a kind of peace in accepting it, in setting down the wish to cross every distance and simply letting the far things be far. We can know Proxima and love it a little and wonder at its worlds without ever needing to arrive. The light it sends us, 4 years old by the time it comes, is a real touch across the gulf, a genuine message from our nearest neighbor, and it reaches us every single night whether we look for it or not. So the crossing that matters most is the one that light makes for us, silently and endlessly, carrying the far star's glimmer to any eye or instrument that turns its way. There is no need to travel to Proxima to be in its company. We only have to look and to let the years-old light it sends fall on us, and to hold in mind as we do that it left that small red star while we were living an earlier season of our own lives. That is closeness enough for wonder. Now let us pull back once more and set the nearest star among its own near neighbors. In the quiet little corner of the galaxy we all share. Step back far enough, and our Sunday, with its planets and its warmth and all its importance to us, becomes simply one star among a loose scattering of near neighbors, a quiet little gathering adrift in one arm of the galaxy. Proxima and the 2 bright suns of Alpha Centauri are the closest members of that gathering, but they are not the only ones. Within a short reach of stellar distances, there float a handful of other suns, most of them, like Proxima, small dim red dwarfs too faint to see, along with a few brighter lights we do know by name. This is our stellar neighborhood, the nearest company our Sunday keeps in the dark. The first thing that map teaches is how much room there is. Even here, in what counts as our crowded local corner, the stars are set so far apart that the space between them dwarfs the stars themselves many times over. From our Sunday to Proxima is already those 4¼ light years of near-perfect emptiness, and the next neighbors lie farther still, each one alone in its own wide pocket of dark. If the stars were people, our galaxy would be the most sparsely settled country imaginable, each soul standing miles from the next across a silent plain. The night sky looks crowded with light, but that is only because our eyes cannot feel the vast gaps between. A second thing the map teaches is that it does not hold still. Every star in our neighborhood, our own Sunday among them, is drifting along its own slow path around the great wheel of the galaxy, and over long enough spans those paths carry the stars past one another and rearrange the whole local pattern. Proxima is our nearest neighbor now, and will be for a good long while, but it has not always held that title, and it will not hold it forever. Across tens of thousands of years, the slow currents of stellar motion will bring other suns nearer and carry Proxima gradually away, and in some far age a different star will wear the crown of closest neighbor. There is a lovely humility in that slow reshuffling. The very fact of which star is nearest, a fact that feels so fixed and settled, is itself only a passing arrangement, true for this long moment of cosmic time and destined to change. We happen to live in an age when a small enduring red dwarf and its bright companions are our closest kin, and that is a gift of timing as much as of place. Others who might look up in ages far ahead or far behind would find a different nearest star and would wonder at it just as we wonder at ours. The neighborhood turns slowly, and every era has its own closest light. For tonight, though, the arrangement is ours, and it is a kind one. Our nearest neighbor is not some fierce or fleeting star, but a small, patient, enduring ember bound to two gentle suns, carrying at least one Earth-sized world in its temperate glow. Of all the arrangements the drifting stars might have handed us, this is among the loveliest we could have asked for. A quiet, long-lived world-bearing system set at the very nearest point in the sky. Let us look once more at the three suns themselves and at the soft difference in their colors before we begin the long, gentle turn toward rest. The three stars of our nearest system are not alike, and one of the gentlest ways to know them is by their color. For the color of a star is a quiet report of its warmth. It runs opposite to the way we often think of hot and cold. The coolest stars glow red, the middling ones yellow and white, and the very hottest shine blue, so that a star's color read rightly tells you the temperature of its shining face. Our three neighbors span a good part of that range, from the warm yellow of a sun-like star down through a softer orange to the deep red of the little dwarf. Three different warmths written in three different lights. Alpha Centauri A, the brightest of the three, glows a warm yellow, much like our own Sunday, because its surface holds much the same heat as the Sunday's does. To stand in its light would feel familiar, a golden daylight barely different from the one we know. Its companion, Alpha Centauri B, is a little cooler, and so its light leans toward a softer orange, a mild amber glow gentler than the yellow of its brighter partner. And little Proxima, coolest of them all by far, gives out that deep quiet red we have dwelt on all night. The light of a surface only half as hot as the Sunday's, a low ember glow rather than a bright blaze. Set the three side by side, and you see a small family portrait written in warmth and light. The tall, bright yellow sibling, steady and sun-like. Beside it, the gentler orange one, softer and cooler and a little smaller, and far off, the tiny red ember, dimmer than either by a great margin, cooler than either by far, yet the most enduring of the three and the one that carries worlds. It is a lovely spread of stars to hold in one system. A near twin of our Sunday, a mild orange companion, and a long-lived red dwarf. Three different kinds of shining bound together in one small corner of the sky. There is a quiet pleasure in imagining the mingled light such a family might cast. Could you ever stand where all three lit your sky at once? The bright yellow-white of the largest, the soft amber of the second, the deep rose of the little dwarf, blended together into a light unlike any single sun could give, gentle and layered and calm. It is not a light any world in that system truly bathes in altogether, for the stars are set too far apart for that, but the imagining is a soft one, three warmths woven into a single glow. Colors, after all, are among the tenderest things the stars offer us, and this near family holds a lovely handful of them. So we have met them all now, the three suns of the nearest system, each in its own color and its own kind. The brilliant yellow neighbor so like our Sunday, beside it the mild orange companion, and the small, dim, patient red ember that is of the three and of all the stars, our very closest. Around that ember at least one world about the size of the earth, turning through its swift bright years beneath an unmoving sun, all of it near, all of it quiet, all of it real. The journey outward is complete. Now, as the deep middle of our night gives way to its long, soft ending, let us begin, gently, to turn back toward home and toward rest. We have wandered outward through space all night, and now let us wander a little through time, gently, to see what becomes of our nearest neighbor in the long ages ahead. Our own Sunday has a great deal of life still before it, some billions of years of steady shining much as it does now, but it will not shine so forever. In its far future, it will slowly swell into a vast and cooler giant, glowing large and soft across a changed sky, and then, in time, let go of its outer layers and settle into a small dense ember that will cool very slowly across the ages. That is the long path of a star like our Sunday, unhurried and certain. Proxima's path is different and far, far longer, because it is small and dim and thrifty with its fuel. The little red dwarf will simply go on glowing steady and low for a span that makes our Sunday's whole lifetime seem a brief candle. Not billions of years, but trillions, spans so long that by their close the galaxy itself will have changed beyond knowing. Most of its bright stars long since quieted, the great age of brilliant suns given way to a slow twilight of small enduring embers. And through much of that immense future, our little Proxima will still be there, still glowing its patient red, still holding its worlds in the same soft warmth. There is a great tranquility in that thought, once the mind stretches wide enough to hold it. The stars we call brilliant and important, the great bright suns that light our skies, are in truth the brief and spendthrift ones, blazing gloriously and then passing on. It is the small dim red dwarfs, the ones too faint for our eyes, that inherit the long future and keep their soft hearths burning when almost all else is quieted. Our nearest neighbor is one of these lasting lights. Long after our own Sunday has swelled and settled and begun its slow cooling, Proxima will still be glowing, scarcely older than it is tonight, a patient ember carrying its worlds through the deep ages. And Proxima B, or whatever worlds truly circle that little star, will ride on with it through all that time, turning through their swift bright years beneath the unmoving red sun, the endless day and the endless night, and the soft twilight ring holding their shape across spans we can hardly name. Whether any of those worlds ever holds still water or ever will, we do not know. But the little sun that warms them is among the most durable things the whole universe makes, and it will keep them company far into a future beyond all our reckoning. There is comfort in a warmth that lasts like that, a small steady light that simply abides. So the nearest star is not only our closest neighbor in space, but one of the longest lived things in all of time, a small enduring ember set to outlast the bright suns and inherit the quiet ages. To know that the closest light to us is also among the most patient and enduring is a soft note to rest upon. It asks nothing, it hurries nowhere, and it will still be glowing gently long after tonight, and all our tomorrows have faded from memory. Let us leave the deep future there, glowing softly, and come back toward our own sky, and the simple question of how a person might actually find that nearest light overhead. For those who live in the southern half of the world, our nearest star is not some hidden thing reachable only by great instruments. The bright pair that Proxima belongs to, the light we call Alpha Centauri, is one of the most brilliant stars in the whole southern sky, easy to find on any clear night once you know where to turn your eyes. It rides near a small and famous pattern of stars, a compact little cross that has guided travelers of the southern seas for as long as people have sailed them, and it serves as one of two bright pointers that lead the eye toward that cross. Those two bright pointer stars stand close together, and the brighter of the two, the one nearer the cross, is our Alpha Centauri, the nearest star system to the Sunday. Anyone standing beneath the dark southern sky can look up and rest their gaze upon it directly, a single calm, brilliant point, and know that they are looking at the closest suns to our own, 4¼ light years off. The dim little Proxima hiding beside them cannot be seen this way, of course, but its bright companions can, and to look at them is to look near enough at our nearest neighbor, gathered into that one steady light. There is something quietly moving in that the nearest star to our Sunday is not only a thing of measurements and discoveries, but a light you can simply stand beneath and see if you are in the right half of the world on a clear enough night. The peoples of the southern lands have watched that light for countless generations, woven it into their stories and their seasons and their ways of finding a path across land and sea. Long before anyone knew, it was the closest of all the stars. It has always been there, one of the brightest lights of the southern night, keeping its silent company overhead. And when we learned, only a century or so ago, that this familiar bright light held a third hidden member, the faint red ember creeping across the photographs, that old and well-loved star became something more. It became our doorstep, the nearest point in the whole sky, the closest that the vast sea of stars ever comes to our own small shore. The same light the southern sailors steered by turns out to be the nearest star of all, and the dim companion it hides is the very closest single star to our Sunday. Familiar and astonishing at once, folded together into one calm point over the southern horizon. So if ever you find yourself far south beneath a clear dark sky, you might look for those two bright pointers and the little cross they guard, and rest your eyes a moment on the brighter of the pair. You would be gazing at the nearest suns to our own, and at the hidden ember that is our closest neighbor of all, and at the small world that turns around it beneath its unmoving red light. It is a rare and lovely thing to be able to simply look up and see, with your own unaided eyes, the very nearest star, and that bright old light has gathered names from many peoples across the long ages, which is a gentle small story all its own. Long before anyone knew that this bright southern light was the nearest star to our Sunday, people gave it names. A star so brilliant, riding so clear in the southern sky, could hardly go unnamed by those who lived beneath it, and across the ages it gathered several names from several tongues. One old name for it means, roughly, the foot of the centaur, for the bright pair sits within a great star pattern that the ancients pictured as a centaur, a figure half human and half horse striding across the southern heavens. That name places the star exactly at the foot of a mythic figure walking the sky. Other names for the bright star have come down to us as well, worn smooth by long use and uncertain now in their first meanings, the way the oldest words often are. What matters is not the exact root of each name, but the simple fact that so many looked up at this one light and felt moved to call it something, to fix it in their stories and their maps and their long memory of the sky. It was, to them, one of the great lights of the night, a fixed and faithful beacon, and they honored it with names as people always have honored the brightest and steadiest things overhead. None of those old watchers, though, could have guessed the star's deepest secret, that it was the closest of all the suns to their own. That knowledge waited until only about a century ago, when the faint red companion was found creeping across the photographs, and the true nearness of the whole family was understood. And when that small dim member was named, it was given a name that says exactly what it is. Proxima, from an old word meaning nearest, the closest of all. Of all the many names in this small family's story, that one is perhaps the truest, for it names not a shape in the sky, but a fact about the star's place in the whole vast order of things. There is something touching in that layering of names across time. First, the bright pair, named long ago for its place in a mythic figure, honored for its brilliance by people who watched it purely for its beauty and its steadiness. Then, much later, the faint hidden companion, named for the one thing that makes this whole system so precious to us, its nearness. The old names hold the wonder of those who simply loved the light, and the new name holds the wonder of those who measured it and found it closest. Both kinds of wonder rest together now in that one point of southern light. And in a way, the whole night we have spent together is another name we give the nearest star, a name made not of a single word, but of wonder and attention. To learn what a thing truly is, to hold its color and its size and its distance and its worlds gently in mind, is its own kind of naming, its own way of honoring the light. The peoples of long ago named it for its beauty. We have come to know it for its nearness. And tonight, simply by resting our thoughts upon it a while, we have named it once more, quietly, in our own way, before we let it go. Only a few soft things remain now before we turn fully toward rest. Our knowledge of the nearest star is not a finished thing. It is a story still being written, gently, night after night, as new instruments turn their patient attention toward that little red ember and the worlds it may hold. Even now, greater telescopes are being built and readied, machines of extraordinary care designed to gather the faintest light and read it more finely than ever before. Some of them may one day be able to do what we cannot yet do, to catch the direct glimmer of Proxima B itself, to separate the faint light of the world from the glow of its star and study it on its own. Were that to happen, we might begin to answer the tender questions we have had to leave open all night. By reading the light that passes through or reflects from the world, astronomers could look for the marks of an atmosphere, for the quiet signatures of air and perhaps even of water, and slowly the two possible Proxima Bs we imagined, the mild one and the bare one, might resolve into a single true world. It would be, in its way, the closing of a circle begun long ago, when the first watcher noticed a faint light creeping across a photograph and wondered what it was. The nearest star has been giving up its secrets slowly, and it is not done yet. There is no hurry in any of this, and that is part of its beauty. The little star is not going anywhere. It has glowed for billions of years already, and will glow for trillions more, and it will wait patiently for us to learn to see it better. Each new instrument adds a little to the picture. Each careful season of watching fills in a little more, and there is no need to rush the knowing. The nearest star will still be there tomorrow, and the year after, and long past that, ready to be understood a little more deeply by whoever cares to look with enough patience and enough care. And perhaps that is the truest gift the nearest star offers, not answers, but an invitation to keep wondering, gently and without end. It sits there on our doorstep, close enough to study and far enough to keep its mysteries, a small red light carrying at least one world we can barely glimpse, holding open the oldest and softest of questions about whether we are alone in the dark. We do not need to settle that question tonight. It is enough to know that the question is being asked, patiently, of the very nearest star, and that the asking will go on gently long after we have drifted off to sleep. So the search continues, unhurried, as searches for the truest things should. And as it does, the nearest star simply keeps to its quiet self, glowing its patient red over the southern sky, warming its small worlds, waiting without impatience to be known. We have come a long way tonight, out to the nearest star and its worlds and its two bright suns, and through the deep time of its future and the wide quiet of its neighborhood. Now the journey folds gently toward its close, and it is time, slowly, to turn back toward that first single point of light and toward rest. Before we turn fully homeward, let us rest a while in the gentlest place. This whole journey has shown us the ring of endless twilight that wraps the little world next door. We have earned a quiet pause there in imagination, and it asks nothing of us but to be still. Picture yourself standing on that slender band where the endless day and the endless night meet and soften into one another. The little red sun rests low on the horizon before you, neither rising nor setting, holding perfectly still, pouring out a level rose light that neither dazzles nor fades. Long soft shadows stretch away and never move. The air, if there is air, lies calm and even, turns slowly, and the light changes only by gentle degrees. Face one way toward the day side, and the rose glow strengthens a little, the fixed sun climbing a touch higher above the land. Turn the other way toward the night side, and it softens, the sun sinking lower toward the horizon until, farther still, it would slip from view and leave you under a sky full of cold stars. But here on the ring itself, the balance holds, the sun forever poised at the edge of the world, the light forever that of a long calm dusk that never darkens and never brightens, a single held breath of evening stretched around a whole planet. There is no clock here, no turning of the hours, no coming day to prepare for or passing day to mourn. The great wheel of light that rules our lives, the sunrise and the noon and the sunset and the dark, simply does not turn on this world. Time still passes, of course, the little world still races around its star every 11 days, but you would never read that passage in the sky. The sky holds still, and in that stillness there is a deep and unfamiliar peace, the peace of a place where nothing is hurrying toward anything, where the light has come to rest and simply stays. Look up on the nightward side, and there hang the two bright companion suns, brilliant beyond anything in our own sky, casting their faint doubled shadows across the still ground. They move, but so slowly that you would need years to notice, drawing together and apart in their long 80-year embrace. Everything here moves at the pace of patience. The sun that will not set, the bright suns that circle across lifetimes, the little world itself turning through the dark on its long, slow loop around them all. It is a place built entirely of slow and steady things, a whole world at rest even as it flies. Rest there as long as you like. It costs nothing to stand a while on that far, quiet shore, beneath the sun that does not move, in the light that does not change, and simply be still with it. The little world will hold its endless dusk, whether we watch or not, whether we sleep or wake. And perhaps that is the softest gift of the nearest star that it offers, even to the imagination. Such a perfectly restful place to lay the mind down. A whole planet wrapped in unending gentle twilight, asking nothing, hurrying nowhere, calm as sleep itself. Let us carry that stillness with us now, as we begin the long, slow drift back toward home. As our journey folds toward its close, it is worth holding, all at once and gently, everything the nearest star has shown us tonight. We began with a single point of light in the southern sky, one calm star among many, and we found inside it a whole small family, two bright suns and a dim red ember bound together across a gulf, so wide the ember takes 500,000 years to circle its bright kin. Drawing close to that little red sun, we saw it for what it is, small and cool and faint and patient, the most enduring kind of star there is, our very nearest neighbor in all the sky. We rested beside the world that circles it, a place about the size of our own Earth, riding in the star's temperate glow, holding one face forever to its little sun and one forever to the dark, wrapped around its waist in a ring of endless twilight. And we wondered, honestly and without forcing the answer, whether water might ever rest upon it, and we let that question stay softly open. We looked back from that far world and saw our own bright Sunday shrunk to a modest point among the stars, our whole home hidden in its glow, and felt the gentle turning inside out that such a far view brings. And through all of it ran one quiet thread, the simple fact of nearness. Of all the countless suns scattered across the sky, this small family is the closest, the near shore of an ocean whose far reaches run on beyond all imagining. That does not make it reachable. Light itself takes 4 years and more to cross the gap, and no ship we could build would arrive in any lifetime. But it makes it ours, in a gentle way, the nearest thing in all the great dark, the closest the sea of stars ever comes to our own small shore, and it warms at least one world and holds open, right on our doorstep, the softest question there is. There is a comfort at the end of such a journey in how much of it comes down to that one word, near. The nearest star turns out to be a patient, enduring, world-bearing thing, gentle and long-lived and quiet, set at the very closest point the cosmos offers us. We cannot go to it, but we can know it and love it a little, and let its years old light fall on us each night whether we look or not. Of all the arrangements the drifting stars might have handed us, this near kind, lasting one is among the loveliest we could have been given, and it is simply, quietly, ours. So, the nearest star gives us, in the end, not a destination but a companion, a small steady light on the near edge of the dark, close enough to wonder at and far enough to keep its peace. It has been our neighbor through all of human history, and it will be our neighbor long after, glowing its patient red over the southern sky, holding its worlds in the same soft warmth, asking nothing of us at all. And now, as the night deepens and the journey draws to its close, let us drift gently back to where we began, to that one single point of light, and let it carry us down into rest. We have come all the way out to the nearest star and all the way back, and here we are again, beneath that single point of light in the southern sky where we began. It looks just as it did before, one calm star among the many, giving nothing of its secrets away. But it is different now, because we know what waits inside it. We know that this one small light is really three, two bright suns and a dim red ember, and that the ember is the very nearest star to our own, and that a small world turns around it in a ring of endless quiet twilight, 4¼ light years off across the gentle dark. There is nothing more to reach for now, and nothing left to understand. The journey is done, and it asked nothing of you but to drift along with it, out to the nearest star and gently home again. You do not need to remember any of it in the morning. Not the numbers, not the names, not the little red sun that does not move. It is enough that you came out into the quiet for a while and rested your mind on far and gentle things, and let the closest star in all the sky keep you company through part of the night. All of it can slip away now, softly, like the light of a star at dawn. So let your body grow heavy and your thoughts grow slow, and let that single distant light fade quietly away with them. The nearest star will keep its patient glow over the southern sky whether you watch it or not, warming its small worlds through the long ages, asking nothing, hurrying nowhere, waiting calmly to be wondered at again another night. For now there is only the dark and the quiet and the soft weight of rest settling over you. Let it come and let the far light go. There is nowhere else to be, and nothing else to do but drift down gently into sleep. Rest now. Good night.